all in black.
Ebony and ivory.
Well, this is ebony.
Well, it sounds better than ebony and blood.
Yeah.
Ebony and blood. All right.
All right.
Victoria?
Sorry, just checking the questions. There's loads today.
You're not allowed to check the questions.
So, I know. Welcome to another exciting episode of Feel It Real Fun for You on the 18th of November, 2022.
Did I do the love train? Yeah.
And it's your manifesting questions answered live.
Your manifesting questions answered live.
That's right.
All right.
So, go to easymanifestingmethods.com.
I'd go there, do that. Why not?
Join our 90-day adventure. There we go. Now we can see ourselves.
Yeah, there we are.
Join our 90-day adventure at manifestingmasterycourse.com.
That is the rightness, everyone said.
And for refunds, visit our YouTube channel, feelitrealfun.com.
And for Dream-Driven Day kids, if you want to find out about Remarkable and your options, let me know. Right? I'm not blasting this shit out, so at least not yet. So if you've done Dream-Driven Day and you want to check out, do you want to join Remarkable 2023 or not? Right? Let me know.
Cool.
Doobie-doo-bop.
Hello, Luke at 20's son.
Luke, I told Victoria all about what you gave your sister.
did.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, that's ace.
Absolutely. Shanita.
Hello, Shanita. And I saw Alice. Hello.
Alice, all these Triple D kids are showing up again. How cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, Victoria.
So, we're going to dive straight in.
Let us dive
quite
in.
a few questions.
That's right.
And the first question is from Nee in Manifesting Mastery.
Ebony.
Telephone technique revision.
I thought it was fun.
Now you can do
Ebony. You get it? Knee.
And ivory.
Knee. In manifesting.
Yeah.
Ebony. In manifesting.
How slow do you
Mastery.
think I am?
No, I don't think you're slow at all.
God.
Yeah, you're like as bright as a box of $2 donuts.
Fire. All right.
All right.
Nee asks, is there a telephone method for revising the day? Or is that adding unnecessary stuff to an imaginal session? For example, it would be either talking to a partner in bed with your revised wins of the day, or talk to her on the phone about how amazing has my day been. Though at some point also have to bring it out of mind, say a disappointing letter or news, etc. Thanks, Nee.
All right, so I love what Neville talks about refashioning the vessel, and I'm a really big fan of not adding in or taking out. So some people do, I just forget the whole damn thing. Well, yeah, I can tell you that's a little weird.
That don't
right?
really work.
Yeah, on the other hand, it's like I'm going to add in a whole bunch of things, like a telephone. Right? So, like, let's say I'm rude to Victoria. Have I ever been rude to Victoria? Yeah. Right? I'm in the zone. I get snippy.
Yeah.
Right? I'll admit it. That's part of the personality. Right? Now, I don't. So,
The personality,
yeah, it shows up, right?
Yes.
So when I let go of that, when I revise that, when I imagine something lovingly, I don't add in a telephone. Yeah, hello, Vic.
Wow.
I do add in now my cool little glasses, right? So I can push a button and call Victoria.
On
right?
the way home from the pool.
Yeah, and I don't add in anything that don't need added in. So it's like that whole thing of like, rightio. Like, so I can imagine what implied lunch was super duper duper yum. Or, yeah, because if it was just yum, I want it to be super duper duper yum.
Yeah.
And I mention that because a lot of people are still using revision just as a fix-it tool. So they got to scan for shit to fix. So make sure if you haven't done revision to the max.com, $7. It's a steal. But let's continue to answer.
We will. I mean, Neville did actually have his telephone technique
Oh, yeah.
when people used to ring him and he wouldn't hang up. But it's like it's different, sort of.
Yeah, you could actually sit there. So, like, if Lisa called me up, I said, "Yo, Lisa," and we had a wonderful time, and I set down the phone. By the way, I don't ever pick up a phone. Like, I talk to the box, right? The phone rings, and I just stare at it.
His glasses.
Yeah, I talk to my glasses, right? So I would just imagine, like, it wasn't just a great call. I'd be imagining super duper, oh wow call, right? So that's what I do. But stay tuned. Cool. We'll keep imagining more.
Excellent. Nee, ebony, and ivory.
Ebony, yeah, and blood.
Thank you, Nee, for your question.
All right. We have a black lifeguard at the pool, right? Well, he's as black as they come in Australia.
Are you allowed to say that now?
I don't know.
Can you
I
say
probably
a
not.
person's black?
Well, we can say. Well, he brings it up, and he wears black tennis shoes and socks, and he always works with Sonny. And Sonny's a white guy who wears white shoes and socks. And I sing Ebony and Ivory every time I pass him, and they love it because it is the most incorrect thing possible
To say.
to say, much less sing. And Manish loves me, and so does Sonny, and I just love these guys. So I tossed
So
that.
Sonny wears all white.
Yeah,
Does he?
yes, Sonny's white shoes. Yeah, he wears
White
he
socks,
wears Toyota white shoes and socks, and Manish wears black shoes and socks. So I always sing Ebony and Ivory because I'm an asshole.
Cool.
So they probably revise me.
Yeah, exactly. I should just mix it up one day and change their outfits with each other.
Oh, that'd be great.
Wouldn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah, I'll make that suggestion
That'd be
Sunday
fun.
because that's when they both work.
Okay.
All right.
The next question's from Loving Mum, and Loving Mum asks, Loving Mum challenges.
Oh, this is going to be so great.
So all of the loving mums out there will relate, I'm sure. So Loving Mum asks, I have a 12-year-old. I remember when I was 12,
I remember having a stepkid, and
She is mad that I told her it's getting colder. I told her that it's getting colder. And that she won't be able to go over to her friend's house as much. And she just had a smart remark. Oh my God, she's getting disrespectful. Loving Mum is upset. I'm losing my state. How can I imagine her happy while standing firm?
all right. So here's the fun thing. How could you see? My thing will be, how do you let it be fun? Because teenagers do what teenagers do, and you can imagine it being better than, worse than, or an adventure.
You can
Because
imagine her as a teenager when she's only 12. Imagine what's coming up.
imagine what's coming up, right? Because we were both teenagers. I was a
know.
teenage boy. She was a teenage girl.
Yeah.
I think.
I was horrendous.
She was actually more a teenage tomboy girl, but that's another
Yeah.
side of the story. I was more like a teenage. I was crazy. So the thing is, now it's like my mom and I get along great. I bought her an iPad. We do the texty thing, send photos, do the talky thing. It's a lot of fun. I would imagine what implies you both survived the years and you can look back with nostalgia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nostalgia is a fascinating one. I'm thinking about doing a call on that even. We've got a revision call coming up. If you want details on that, let me know. But this whole thing of just really rightio, at the end of the day, can you experience accomplished and satisfied as a mom? Can you imagine her accomplished and satisfied? Because what's a teenager want? Seriously, they're going from being a kid to being an adult. They're freaking nutballs. They got all the hormones going on.
Yeah.
If you can imagine your daughter accomplished and satisfied, what a gift to her, right? And you'll get along as you get along. So that's where I'd play. But stay tuned, unless Victoria has something to add in, because she was once a 12-year-old little girl.
Oh, no, I don't want to remember that.
Nutball.
Yes, I was. Cool, excellent. Yeah, no, that's great, babe.
All right.
One. So thank you for your answer, and thank you very much, Loving Mum, for your question.
Stay tuned. We'll keep answering it in the other ones like we do.
Yeah, like 20 does.
Yeah, that's right.
The next question is from Laura in Manifesting Mastery. Medical manifesting.
I love medical manifesting.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I like being defiant to doctors. I love doctors, by the way. We've got some lovely ones in the family. But here's the thing. You can believe in your diagnosis or your dream. You can't do both. We're going to make that into an infographic sizzle. All right.
So Laura asks, hi there. I'm having an issue with tinnitus, is it?
Yes.
And I want to reverse it, but I'm struggling. The doctor said...
That's what it's like. Yeah.
Tinnitus. Oh, it's whistling in the ears, is
Yes.
it?
Yep.
I bet you looked that up.
No, I have
know
it.
it. Oh, you have
I
it.
always position your mother off that here. But more on that shortly.
Okay. The doctor said it usually doesn't go away, and I wish he'd never told me that, as it's in my mind now. Can you point me toward any of your lessons that might help me get on track? Thank you so much, Laura.
All right, Laura. So I have tinnitus. Jimmy Bush. Some of you guys in Dream Driven Day remember the Jimmy Bush episodes. So Jimmy Bush and I went out shooting one day. I called it rootin' tootin' shootin'.
Rootin' tootin' shootin'.
Rootin' tootin' shootin'. Jimmy Bush had a 44 mag 6-inch barrel Colt, right? And he hand loaded his rounds to the maximum of what the gun could handle. And we went out one day and we didn't have.
What does that mean? Like if it's
a very loud boom. Right, and very Jesus,
okay.
Right? So, I fired 2, Tony fired 2, Jimmy fired 2. That was the day I went deaf. I swear to God, I could feel my right eardrum like saying, "We're not going to play much anymore," right? And so, like years later, I go to the doctor because I was in an incident, and the doctor says, "Wow, this is fascinating. You have a large range, so your hearing is excellent, nothing." And excellent again. Like, wow.
In one ear? Or
just in one ear, right? So in one ear I am functionally deaf, supposedly, right? Which is great, because whenever we go out for family incidents...
I couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah, I always position her mother in that ear, right? Now, the weird thing is, I love word botching. I go outside and I botch words all day long. And while I'm botching words, I watch them in the trees, and they're just so beautiful.
The botched words?
Oh, the birds, right?
Oh.
So the birds will be in the trees singing songs, letting me know things. And if you're a word botcher, what you do is you try to locate the birds in the trees, using like echolocation, right? So like I go outside, and the weird thing is I should not be able to echolocate because you need stereo to echolocate. Same thing when you're listening to Freddie Mercury, it helps if you have stereo. But the things that I enjoy, I can hear Freddie in both ears. Yeah, I'm just a poor boy from a poor family, right? Yeah, and the birds. I can echolocate like I'm spooky with echolocation. Both with birds, cracking twigs, anything that will kill me, tigers, right?
Tigers.
Tigers.
Yeah, like we get them all the time out here.
Well, some people will think that, like Joe Welton. Anybody tag him? So here's the fun thing, right?
Yes.
I don't give a shit what the doctor said. Now here's when I come to Australia and they start giving me tests, they say, hey, funny thing. I say, check my ears. And they say, oh yeah, it looks like you're a little deaf in one ear. I say, oh yeah, it doesn't matter, does it? Right? I just don't hear what I don't want to hear. So like I have no desire to pass a medical test. I could give a shit. But what I actually give a shit about is hearing birds echolocating, hearing her voice, and not listening to her mother. So with all that in mind, what would I imagine? Hearing is not an issue for me. Hearing should be an issue for me. It ain't. So it's just sort of like that electric bill thing, but we'll talk about that later. Victoria, let us continue.
Yes, okay.
Because you can dream, you can believe in your dreams or your diagnosis. Your diagnosis will often have you deny your dreams. I love echolocation. I really do. I am nuts about it. Right? Amanda. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Amanda.
She's a singing fiend.
And Brian.
Dr. Brian, Dr. Brian, Dr. Brian, let me go.
Yes. So he's what? She's what?
She's a singing fiend.
A singing fiend.
Oh, yeah, she's on fire. I have to show you. She's in Alessandra's group.
Cool.
All
Hi,
right.
you, Jeannie.
Jeannie, welcome to the show.
Okay, so
Young Krista.
that was for Laura.
All
Thank
right.
you very much for your question, Laura.
Oh, who's that from?
The next question is from
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Anonymous. Was it?
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Anonymous. Does
Right.
more equal quicker?
Does it?
And Anonymous asks, I'm noticing some shifts in imagining lovingly for people, doing it once in the morning. Is it quicker if you do it more often? Of course, I can do it any time, though morning sessions to be where I've stacked my imaginal sessions. Cheers.
All right, so, ready? More equals quicker if you do it my way. Like Frank Sinatra, you know what I mean? I did it my way.
So more equals quicker if you do it my way.
If you do it my way, right? Now here's the thing. Mamma mia, let me go.
Oh, Freddie's turning up everywhere.
Right?
Yes.
And Frank, Freddie and Frank.
Frank.
My way,
Oh, yeah,
right?
okay, all right.
So, if I had just one song that I could sing, I'd have to get in the mood for that song, wouldn't I? On the other hand, the more buns that I have in the oven, the faster I can surrender to any of them, because there are some days where it is just a little hard to surrender to loving husband.
What's he saying?
What is he implying? Right?
Exactly.
Right? Now, in all seriousness, though, right, there are some times, whenever it's like real shivery cold outside and you're trying to surrender to sunburn, you might be having a rough time. Right?
Surrendering to sunburn.
Yeah, on the other hand, while it's shivering outside, I can surrender to something like
I would never surrender to sunburn. That is the most painful. That's so horrendous.
Oh, you haven't had real pain then.
Oh, I have.
Yes, sunburn's like
sunburn
a warm up.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll listen to him.
Right,
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, that whole happy, loving husband thing. Right. So, now the fun thing is, having a sense of humor, having a lot of different wishes and having a sense of humor always makes this easier. So it's not about the more I imagine, having a yummy lunch. The more I imagine having a yummy lunch, the more having a yummy lunch, the faster it comes or the easier it gets. I just notice. I'll just imagine a loving, yummy lunch, and then I'll move on to something else, and then I'll move on to something else, and I'll move on to something else. You should see my playlist, right? So you can imagine it. You guys have watched the show, right? So, So, by the way. There is a way that this is the truth as far as I can tell. So every morning I imagine up a couple things. So we always do the Joseph Goddard, right? This is really important. So every day I imagine up her yum for lunch, right? Podcast. If I've got a one-on-one, I imagine it having had gone great.
All of these
right? That kind of thing.
Joseph Goddard
all these are
things.
Joseph Goddard things.
Yes.
Now here's the thing. It gets really easy to imagine a podcast going great after I do it every day. Because every day I know today's podcast. Every day I know today's podcast. Every day I know today's podcast. It becomes a very simple every day. Some people imagine the same mediocre shit every day, and that becomes pretty easy.
Yeah, maybe I won't fight with him today.
Maybe he won't fight with me today. Maybe she'll be pleasant. Maybe she'll be pleasant. So, let us continue. We'll keep answering your question and the other questions before it as well.
Okay, cool.
All
Excellent.
right.
So that was for anonymous.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, whatever that is. Thank you very much for your question. The next question's from A Dream Driven Day, Lisa. The secret of naturalness. And Lisa asks, my question. Neville said, the time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled, is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. Sorry, I just totally get how this is like number one question, whoever that was.
Yep, it all goes right through.
Revising, it's like being natural. Anyway, and the last one. Natural seems to have a lot to do with position and speed, as you discussed in the metaphysics of manifesting.
Get that if you haven't, kids. It's at NevilleGoddardStore.com.
Yeah, the metaphysics of manifesting. Lisa goes on, what is natural to me feels near and close. I'm curious how both you and Victoria were imagining, which enabled you to become an expat. Right, what you and Victoria were imagining. Yeah, seemingly unnatural for a guy from Pennsylvania, USA. Was it one thing which nailed the feeling of natural for you? Thank you.
Cool. Do you want to go first, or shall I? You may not have been imagining anything.
I don't know that I probably did, just in the fact that it was just like, it just felt like done and dusted. It was like it was like it was up to me to commit to us being together here. Like I had already said, I think, to 20, that I emigrated to UK. It didn't work out for me, but I'd been there for 10 years, and I just decided, no, Australia's my home. So for me, that was the only thing. Like, I did not want to go and live anywhere else permanently or anything. It's like, I just wanted it here. But once I'd not just committed to that, but just felt like, yeah, this is what I want. It was like, there was no question that it would happen. there was no question that it would even be an issue. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, just sign your signature and you're here. That's what it felt like. So I'll let you now go. But yeah.
Cool. So the last time I entered Australia, I was detained by immigration. I'd been coming in and out of the country on one form or another of a visa visitor for the better part of almost a year and a half. They weren't happy, right? Because there's no visa that says, hey, I met someone really cool, I want to marry her, right? Because you have to stick around for like a year. You have to be in a continuous relationship for a year or married before you can get a marriage permanent resident visa thing, right? And they don't have one of those. So basically what they have is you can come here as a student, hang out, get married, and then do something. I wasn't a student. So I just kept coming in on a visitor visa. And I committed like 7 visa violations. Oh, my God. Talk about a hoot. Right? There's a massive difference between the words can and shall in the U.S. versus can and shall in Australia. Right? We had a lovely discussion about this that lasted about 3 hours.
Oh, good.
so I mean, I taught them Latin and everything. Right? It was we had a lovely time, right? So in the end of all that, I'm going to tell you what I imagine. Victoria used the word home. Right? I was just feeling home. Home. I found home as here. I found home as her. I was feeling home. It's interesting because I tell people at the pool, they say, well, do you ever go back? And I tell them I really don't have any interest in going back. Sitting on a plane for 24 hours, not my cup of tea right now, right? It doesn't mean I have anything bad about the U.S. or Pennsylvania, because I tell people I grew up in one of the most beautiful areas of the country, of the world. And if you go there, I tell them, look, if you ever travel there, you let me know, because I'll tell you where to go and who to stop and see, because I want you to see real America. I want you to see what I saw, and I even tell them when to go, right? But when I felt home, I found myself here. And even when I was in the box for 3 hours, I mean, I took my computer, my phone. Yeah, they kept interrogating me, coming back.
Yeah. I'd like to say one thing on that, because
Sure.
that was like the last time he'd been in and out of country so many times. Because you probably already mentioned this, but every 3 months, every 90 days, he had to leave the country. And you were here for over a year. So it was like, or a year. So it was every 3 months he was gone. And sometimes I went and sometimes I couldn't because I had a full-time job. Anyway, the last time you came in, and it was like, I knew when you'd left America, and I was tracking your flight in the air.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? This is like ancient technology now, but back then you could watch the little plane. Right?
I know, coming across the ocean. He's coming. And then it's like, oh, he's landed. Sydney, so that's in Australia, and it was like just a fuel stop or whatever. I knew it would just be an hour or so before he'd come. And then I get a phone call, and I was so excited because, like, I just knew. I think I'd actually already said to you, marry me, because I was I was sick of this crap. Not just because of that, but it was just like, come here and marry me, because this is... Anyway... that I got the phone call, and of course I'm thinking it's 20, and it's
hello.
It's the what do they call them? Airport force. No, what's it called?
Your border force or
border force control. I was like, whoa, and it was just crappy. But what I'm getting to was with this, it felt like it was just a hiccup. It was like. As in, he was going, well, I know, blah, 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 we've detained him, he's breached all these conditions of his visa.
I've breached.
And instead of me feeling like doom and gloom, that's it, it's the end, it was just like, well, it just means then if you're not going to let him in the country, I'm going to have to go to America to marry him. Because it's like,
one way or the other.
It was a hiccup for us, and I knew it. That somehow, like you just said, this is home.
Yep.
So it was, that's...
you
keep going from there.
It was really wild because on the physical side, so the last portion of the interrogation, right? Negotiation, was basically, all right, so here's a list of the bad things you've done. So Yep, I did that. Yep,
did.
I did that. Yep, I did that. I didn't do anything bad. It's like I thought under small business visa I could do a little bit of work in the country. No, you can't. Right. So I thought it was okay to come and go every 90 days. No, it isn't. Right. So it's like radio. So at the end of the whole thing, they said, look, do the right thing. And they stamped my visa and let me in the country. Now, they could have stamped with what's called a no further stay, which means I wouldn't be allowed to ever come back to Australia again or stay beyond my 90 days. Yeah. They didn't. They let me in. Yeah. And then, we did what we did.
And I can't remember right at the end. He either said to you or to me something about you need to act quick, or it was something like that.
Yeah, do the right thing.
Or do the right thing?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was
absolutely.
Like, okay, fine.
So, great question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lisa.
I remember staring at the security camera because in the little holding cell I was in there were three cameras. One for filming the interview and interrogation, and one was the suicide watch, right? And I remember just staring at it. It's like, yeah, you all right in there? I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go home. All right.
Excellent. So,
thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Lisa. That was ace. The next question is from Salwa via email. Personal preferences versus soul callings.
This is great.
And Salwa asks, hi, Mr. 20 in Victoria. I've been loving your videos.
All right.
I want to know, ... can personal preferences, like new desires, ever truly override soul callings? Will you always end up where the higher self would prefer? Will leaning into your every desire, not fly with the higher self? What are your thoughts? Love, Salwa.
So I once owned 3 bicycles here. I used to go out and collect bicycles. Victoria'd go to work, and I'd say, hey, can I have the car today? And I'd go shopping, and I'd collect bicycles. Remember that? So I'd go and I'd collect bicycles and bring them home.
You never collected bicycles.
Yes, I did. The cottage was full of bicycles. I even found helmets, right? Because I thought bicycling might be fun. So I started collecting bicycles.
We did have 2 bicycles, one each. We did get 2 helmets, but I don't remember it being filled with bicycles.
Well, it wasn't filled, but we had bicycles, right? And it was really cool. Now, what happened at some point, we realized we're not doing the bicycle thing, right? I'm sorry. It's like, like me. look at me. I'm a fashion statement. It's like, I got to wear a helmet. I'm going to look like a dumbass, right? So you're about a bicycle, right? It's like I'm 50 years old. A bicycle didn't kill me when I was 5. It's not going to kill me when I'm 50, right? So the bicycles go up on the road and away they go, right? And so when I read things like soul callings and higher self, those are like bicycles. As a child, I believed in things like that. Higher purpose, higher self, all that bullshit. And I'm calling it bullshit because from what I can tell, it pretty much is. And this is the good news. And this is a great question, Salwa, because of this. So you can imagine if I took those bicycles and tied them on the back of the bimmer and went to the pool every day, dragging them bicycles along, I'd probably get pulled over by the cops. I'd have to explain, why I'm dragging bicycles along. And there's no point in them. Right? I let somebody else have the bicycles. And it's just like this whole soul calling and higher self bullshit. Your awareness of being is God. The silence that you are hears the sound of my voice. Now how you are aware of being determines, do you think I'm cool or not? Obviously, you think I'm cool. That's awesome, right? You think she's cool too. That's double awesome because she's twice as cool as me. Right? Look at her. Yeah, ebony and blood, right? Right? So this is what's really, really fun, right?
Ebony and Dexter.
Ebony and Dexter, right? So this whole thing of soul callings, higher self, higher purpose, all that stuff. Neville Goddard said you came here for a divine purpose, and that is to know imagination. He also said your desires are divine in origin. I keep saying you're God having the adventure of a lifetime. So when you want white pizza, that's God wanting to experience white pizza. Whenever you want to stop and imagine lovingly for someone, that's God imagining lovingly for someone, right? There's the big key with this, because there are no higher callings versus whatever. Yeah, do you know why I do this? I'd be bored to fucking tears doing anything else. I get to sit next to her, I get to smell her, and talk to you. Could you imagine me going to work? Right?
No.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, I'd have to wear those glasses I got just to film people's reactions, because I would be like Ricky Gervais. It would have to be a reality show, right?
Yeah.
So, so you don't got to worry about a conflict, because all that stuff doesn't exist. It's sort of like when people do the whole, like, what about my ego and my id and my substructure? And it's like, no, forget all that, right? All you got to do is just notice, what do I desire today? What I desire is what God desires, what I really desire. Yeah, I just want to love someone. Wow, right? So, I think that was great. That was a fantastic question.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite 7 questions from today's show.
One of your favourite 7.
Yes. Now, this is when I find out there's 8 fucking questions and I just offended somebody. Oh, shit. Anyway, Victoria.
Cool, excellent. Thank you, Sawa, for your question.
Oh,
and
Luke,
thank you,
my parents
20.
are really cool.
Oh,
They are,
you're
Luke.
lucky.
No, he's talking about us.
I thought you were the uncle. You're the dad.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
the
I'm
dad.
the
Of course
father.
you're the dad.
Yeah,
You're
right.
the father. Yes,
That's right.
okay. Excellent. Thank you, Salwa, for your question.
So did
That's
Darth
us.
Vader have a wife? I haven't watched anything other than the original 3.
Well, he must have had. Well, maybe not a wife. Sorry,
A shagging
no.
friend.
Who
And then
was?
so
Who
Darth
was
Vader
the
had
shagging
a
friend?
Darth Vader had a
The
shagging
mom.
buddy who imagined being financially secure, so Darth set her up with a trust fund. This is where Neville
And
Goddard.
bought Bitcoin. What?
This is where Neville Goddard meets the prosperity back, or Darth Vader. All right. Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
And the last question today is from Dream Driven Day Amanda.
There she is. There she is.
What sort of manifester are you?
All right.
And Amanda asks, can you talk a bit more about sorting, how to know which type I am, and how to use that in my manifesting? Perhaps with some examples of what to imagine for manifesting money for each type. I watched the 2016, whoa, feel it real fun video. That's so long ago, and yet
It's still going on.
wow. But that someone reshared, and that was very helpful. Thank you.
All right, so for the crass commercial for Remarkable People, this is probably going to show up in Remarkable. It's definitely showing up in State Stacking, which I am nowhere near releasing, because it's like I got so close and then had this epiphany, and it's like, oh my God. But I'm going to mention the top 2 states, and there's a reason why they're the top 2. The top one is identity. The one right down from it is activity. The one right below that is location. Right? Now here's the thing that I really want to stress. Rightio. Ready? Remember, it's all about what are you giving life to. It is really easy to give life to an identity. And when you read Neville, he talks about Lisa's quote. Can you bring up Lisa's quote? Because that's really important.
Yeah, it was really lovely.
And it was useful.
Yeah. And it was useful.
Is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being that which you want to be. Yet the first thing that you're being is loving, happy teacher is a way of being for me. Okay, so that's one of the identity is one of the ways that you sort, right?
Yes.
A step down is activity, right?
Yes.
Activity is what am I doing? What have I done? Now here's one of my quick little hacks. I go to the pool. I talk to a lot of people, and I just say one little phrase because I don't want to lead people, right? Yeah, leading people would have me go, hey, what'd you do this weekend? That presupposes activity is important to them. If I say, hey, who'd you hang out with this weekend? That presupposes that people are important to them. But if I just say, hey, Dr. Brian, give me an update. Whatever Dr. Brian focuses on and focuses from reveals to me how he organizes his universe. So my dad, if I say, hey, Dad, give me an update, he'll tell me I went to Carson's Tavern. And because he sorts first by location. If I say to Victoria, hey, give me an update. Oh, I just came in from the garden. I did this, I did that, I did that, I did this.
That's me.
If she says, hey, 20, how was the pool? And I say, oh, Eric was there, and Charles, and we talked about people. You get it? Even when I go to activity, it'll go back to people, because that's my first one. And one of the hacks, there's two ways to approach this. The way I approached it back in 2016 had you identify your primary and really work on there. Where I'm focusing on doing this now is completely different, because I'm just finding I'm always looking for more elegant ways to do things. So my first suggestion would be just notice what's important to you. And just play with those first three. There's 5 total. I'm not even going to touch on the other 2, but just notice, like, when you listen to people talk, do they mostly talk about people, activity, or where they were? Most people tend to fall in those 3, and that's a great place to start to imagine from.
Yeah, it's fascinating learning about all the sorting.
This is I could do 3 2-hour calls on this easy.
Yeah.
I could do live workshops. I have, right, whole week long, right, because this shit is so cool. But anyway.
Yeah.
So play with identity,
and it
play
really
with activity.
Helps with if once you know what your key sort is, like for me, the activity, then when I imagine something, it's like it involves it'll also involve people, because we all have all of them to some extent, and for me, it's like activity then people. But it just is natural, like the quote that Lisa said, for my imagining to be around an activity where people are involved, and
By the way, so you mentioned about manifesting money for each type, right?
Yes.
So real simple. One of the things that I've noticed with Victoria, she buys better tools than she used to. She understands how important activity is to her, and cheap tools damage her body. Cheap tools make it harder to work. On the other hand, she really enjoys the activity. So we got the young buck that comes in and helps her on the weekends, that kind of thing. Yeah. Right? And so she really gets to give life to activity. Me, I am very into people. As you've probably noticed. Yeah. One of the things that drives people nuts, because literally, she and I co-anchor the show. She'll keep me targeted. I'll keep addressing people. Constantly. And it drives some people nuts. The data sorters, right? They watch the show and go, will you get to the fucking point? Will you tell me exactly what I need to do? I need a step-by-step thing, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going, all he does is talk to people. It's like, well, you're a people. You don't know anything about me. You get it? This is real subtle, but it's real fun. Anyway, I hope I almost answered your question, because, again, this is a big exploration.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It feels like there's no stops. Excellent. So that was for Amanda.
By the way, if I ever release state stacking, jump on that like a pit bull on a pork chop, because I really go into this shit in some really cool ways. I can't wrap my head around what to do with it. So I can't wrap my head around what to do with it. All right.
Cool.
You're welcome.
Excellent. So, thank you very much, Amanda, for your question. Thank you. And thank you, 20, for your answers.
All right.
And what we want to know is, tell us, what was your hashtag strawberry bet?
That's right. Coral is imagining.
And mine is actually, that was a fabulous quote, Lisa. And it actually is all about that, about what feels natural. And for you, and we can pull in the states, like, or whatever, the sorting method, or all sorts of things. But like the first one was talking about the telephone technique. But that to me is not natural, to be on the phone to do you know what I mean? Like, so it's I reckon that's a real key. Keep it natural, to the point that even I remember Neville saying at one point, and I thought, oh, how true, how are they talking to you back with envy or jealous. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
They're all natural emotions, and if that comes easy to you, it's like, or would be there in that circumstance, like, just bring it into your imaginings. So, yes, that's my hashtag strawberry bit. What about you?
I'm going to go with natural, but on a different axis, with that axis being, if you can just notice a little bit, what do you fill your stories with? You know, is it activity? Is it people? And I'm just going to run with those two real quick. Or location. If I call my dad and want to enrich his life, I'll just ask him, hey, have you been to Fort Necessity recently? I'll ask him a question about location and time and space. No, it's been about 10 years since I've been there, but I did go the other day to Fort Ligonier. And suddenly he just lights right up.
Yeah, he loves it.
Because I mentioned location, right? If you want to play with this in some real cool little ways, because my dad could imagine himself in locations. Okay, I imagine myself with people. I love when I see you people show up. There's Sizzle, he's one of my you people. There's Brian, he's one of my you people. I love people. My second sort, by the way, is activity. I love doing things with you. Right? Her first sort, from what I can tell, is activity. Her second one is people. She really lights up. Guess what I did? And Karstens is coming over. He's going to help me complete it. Yeah, I'll get him to do all the heavy shit. And while he's doing that, I can do this stuff I like.
Yeah.
Right? It's beautiful.
It is true. Yeah.
So, yeah, just notice, where do you naturally, because here's a trap. Fuck, I can't stop. Here's a trap. Trying to manifest a thing. Right? Yeah, I'm so focused on the bank statement, but it doesn't feel natural. So I say, hey, what would be different in your day if you manifested, if you doubled your income, worked half the time? Oh, fuck, man, I'd treat everyone for a coffee every day. Well, no, not every day.
Yeah,
but what would you do? I'd get a deluxe coffee.
That's really cool, actually, because how many people say, oh, I really want this particular car? And it's like, so you might ask, well, what is it about the car that you want? Because for one particular person's thought, I'd have all my friends in the back seat, or
what would be different if you had that car?
I could drive to pick up my new tools at Bunnings, or you know what I mean? Because it's all activity related. And so
what is it? So what would having the car give you? Yes. Oh, my friends would be cool that hang out with me. All right. What would be different if you had the car? Oh, I could go buy shit all over the place and we wouldn't have to worry about it breaking down. What would be cool if you had the car? Oh, I could drive to Portland. Then I could drive to Kentucky.
And be home by midnight.
And be home by midnight.
Because it's location.
Exactly.
Space and time. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right.
Okay.
I'm out.
So that was our hashtag strawberry bits, or you typing yours?
What was your hashtag strawberry bit?
I told you.
She loves when I do this. She just go
to easymanifestingmethods.com.
That's right. Go there, do that.
I'm really sunk.
What's what happens on this thing? That's what happens on this thing.
Join our 90-day adventure at manifestingmasterycourse.com.
By the way, you dream-driven day people who may or may not want to get into Remarkable, reach out. We can have a conversation. Right? We can't if you don't.
Yeah.
Ain't that funny? We can't if you don't.
Have a conversation.
That's right.
No, well, you can't.
If you don't.
If they don't.
That's right.
And for refunds, visit our YouTube channel, feelitrefund.com.
That's right.
That's it. It's such a lovely day. It's the first lovely day we've had since last summer, because it just keeps raining. Today it's not raining.
Yeah, it's actually sunshiny, right? I'm not even going to download the episode. I want you to go out there and have fun.
Yeah, I'm not doing it
All
anyway.
right.
Even if you did.
Cool. So,
okay.
That's how it cheers.
All right.
I can't say your name. You're already in Remarkable. I know who you are. I can cheer.
Who was it?
The lovely girl. We did a one-on-one a while back too. But
nice. Cool.
Awesome. All right, you're gonna have to learn me how to say your name right. So
learn me.
All right. Love you guys. Have a lovely day.